hasn't changed at all. So while they're standing beside you, won't you tell them the score? Won't you tell them a story of the days in the way back when? Every now and then.
This is the facade or front of our house. The porch is a very special kind of room, half inside and half outside, half public and half private. It's the perfect place to watch the world pass by on a summer evening, or maybe to watch a spring thunderstorm, to catch the first scent of autumn, or watch the snow fall from a winter sky. This is the facade or front of our house. Street numbers are part of your house's address. That's one of the ways the letter carrier knows which house is yours, and how others can visit you or send you things.
Like birthday presents.
Right. Or bills.
House numbers weren't invented until about 1760 in London, England. It had gotten so crowded by then that people no longer knew each other. And it had also gotten hard to tell one house from another, especially when they were built in rows.
But what did they do before then?
Well, before houses were numbered, folks just described where their houses stood. It's on Jeffers Row, they would say, for example, directly across from the grocer's. It's got an iron gate and a red door. Come for lunch tomorrow. Don't forget now.
Okay, I won't.
This is the facade or front of our house. Metal gutters are attached to the edges of the roof, which catch rainwater as it runs off the roof and keeps it from dripping on your head.
It'd be more fun if it dripped on you.
Maybe so, but rain gutters and downspouts also keep all that water from making the ground around the house muddy and soggy. It just couldn't absorb the hundreds of gallons of water that would pour onto it from the roof during a heavy storm.
Rainwater dripping from the roof runs along the gutters till it empties into a downspout, which is a hollow metal pipe. The downspouts carry the water away from the house, either by directing it into a field, lawn, or driveway, or by sending it into a larger pipe called a storm sewer, which Rainwater dripping from the roof runs along the gutters till it empties into a downspout, which is a hollow metal pipe. The downspouts carry the water away from the house, either by directing it into a field, lawn, or driveway, or by sending it into a larger pipe called a storm sewer, which
This is the facade or front of our house. The roof covers the top of our house, keeping out the sun and the wind, the rain and the snow. Some roofs are pitched or slanted, while others are flat.
How come?
Well, slanted roofs are usually found where there's lots of snow in the wintertime. Snow can be very heavy, so it's better to have it slide off a pitched roof than to have it sit on a flat one until it's melted by the sun. We used to call houses that are built all together row houses back in the 1950s.
We call them townhouses today.
That's right. Now, row houses usually have flat roofs and are coated with pitch or tar. I remember when the roofers put on a new roof during the summer, you could smell the pitch melting in their pots for blocks. Before they started, we got them to throw down all the half balls and pimple balls that we hit up there during our games. Sometimes there'd be 20 or 30 of them, enough to keep us supplied for weeks.
Back in the 1920s, most houses were covered with slate roofs. A slate is a kind of stone. It's usually dark gray, but it can have some green or red or blue in it too. Now, anytime you put on a roof, you have to start at the bottom.
Why, Grandpa?
Well, as you work your way up to the top of the roof, each new row of shingles sits on top of the row beneath it. That way, the rain can't run under the shingles and wet your ceiling.
We'd have considered ourselves mighty lucky to have a slate roof when I was a girl back in Lincoln's time. But where we lived out on the prairie, there were very few trees, and no flat stones worth using either.
So what did you do?
Well, we used what we did have, and that meant sod or grass and earth roofs. Sod roofs kept the rain out, I suppose, but they were so heavy that our houses had to be very small. And houses with sod roofs often had sod walls too, so they were damp and very dark. No wonder we spent every moment we could outdoors.
I don't blame you.
Back in George Washington's day, lots of roofs were covered with wood shingles called shakes. Wood from cedar trees worked best if you could get it, because cedar absorbs water very quickly and swells. So the wetter it got, the tighter our roof became. In dry weather, though, the shakes would shrink so much that we could actually see the sky, right through the roof. Some nights I'd fall asleep watching little slivers of moonlight crossing the loft floor.
Wow, it must have been like camping out.
In the old days, people covered their houses with whatever was near at hand. Slate, wood, clay, even sod. Now, though, all but a few houses are roofed with man-made materials. Asbestos, fiberglass, and even concrete. These man-made materials may not last as long, but they cost less and are easier to work with, too.
But wouldn't a roof made of concrete be awful heavy?
That's true. But remember, roofs are built to take a lot of weight. Just think, a 6-inch snowfall can add several thousand pounds to your roof.